Welcome to Endless Love Stories. Before we dive into today's heart-wrenching tale, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you believe true love conquers all. Marcus had always been different from his wealthy family. While the Hartwell name opened doors across Manhattan's elite circles, Marcus preferred spending his evenings volunteering at the local shelter rather than attending charity galas, where people wrote checks just for appearances. His trust fund sat mostly untouched, much to his parents' confusion. Everything changed the night he met Elena at a small coffee shop in Queens. She was working the late shift, steam rising from behind the espresso machine as she crafted each drink with artistic precision. Her tired eyes lit up when she smiled at customers, and something about her genuine warmth drew Marcus in immediately. He ordered a simple black coffee and found himself returning every night for weeks, each time staying a little longer to talk. Elena was supporting her younger brother's medical school tuition and sending money back to her family in Honduras. She worked 3 jobs and still found time to tutor neighborhood kids for free. When Marcus finally gathered the courage to ask her out, she hesitated, looking down at her worn uniform. "I don't think we're from the same world," she whispered. But Marcus persisted, and their first date was a picnic in Central Park with sandwiches from a deli and stories that lasted until sunrise. For 6 months, Marcus kept his family background hidden. To Elena, he was just Marcus who worked in consulting and lived modestly. Their love grew in quiet moments, dancing in her tiny apartment kitchen, sharing dreams under city stars, and planning a future built on something more meaningful than money. Marcus had never felt so alive, so real, so himself. The truth came crashing down when Elena needed emergency surgery after a work accident. Marcus couldn't watch the woman he loved suffer due to lack of insurance, so he quietly arranged for the best doctors and covered all expenses. When Elena discovered the truth about his wealth, she felt betrayed and overwhelmed. "You lied to me," she cried, tears streaming down her face. Marcus's family's reaction was even worse. His mother, Patricia Hartwell, was horrified. "A waitress? Marcus, think about what this means for our reputation, for our business connections." His father was more calculating, viewing Elena as a gold digger despite evidence to the contrary. But it was his cousin Derek who became the real villain in this story. Derek had always resented Marcus's position as heir to the family fortune. Charming and manipulative, Derek began poisoning the family against Elena while pretending to be Marcus's ally. He hired a private investigator to dig up dirt on Elena's family, planted false stories about her real motives, and even staged encounters to make it look like Elena was interested in the family money. The breaking point came during a family dinner where Derek had orchestrated the perfect trap. He'd invited Elena, knowing the family would be hostile, and had prepared documents suggesting her brother's medical school had received suspicious donations. "She's been using you, Marcus," Derek announced dramatically, spreading the fabricated evidence across the mahogany table. "She knew who you were from the beginning." Elena stood up, dignity intact despite her breaking heart. "I fell in love with a man who volunteered shelters and talked about making the world better. I don't know who you people are." As she moved toward the door, Derek played his final card. "Don't let her leave. We need her money." The room fell silent as he explained his manufactured evidence that Elena had been stealing from the family through Marcus. But Marcus knew Elena's heart. He'd seen her give her last $20 to a homeless veteran, watched her work double shifts to avoid asking for help, witnessed her turn down his offers to pay for things because she valued her independence. In that moment, he realized his family's true nature and made his choice. "The only person who needs to leave is Derek," Marcus said firmly, his voice cutting through the tension. He grabbed Elena's hand and walked out with her, but the damage was done. Elena couldn't bear being the reason Marcus lost his family, and despite his protests, she disappeared the next morning, leaving only a note. "Love shouldn't cost you everything you've ever known." For 3 months, Marcus searched for Elena while Derek consolidated power within the family, convinced he'd won. But love has a way of creating its own miracles. Marcus finally found Elena working at a small restaurant in Portland, having moved across the country to start fresh. She'd taken her brother with her, and they were building a new life far from the Hartwell influence. When Marcus appeared at her door on a rainy Tuesday evening, Elena's resolve almost crumbled. "I can't be the reason you lose your family," she whispered. But Marcus smiled, pulling out adoption papers for 3 children from the shelter where he'd been volunteering. "You helped me realize what family really means," he said. "It's not about blood or money. It's about choosing to love and protect each other every single day." Derek's schemes eventually unraveled when other family members discovered his forged documents and financial manipulations. He was quietly removed from the family business and faced legal consequences. But by then, Marcus no longer cared about the Hartwell empire. Marcus and Elena married in a small ceremony in Portland, surrounded by the people who'd become their chosen family. Marcus used his inheritance to establish a foundation helping immigrant families access education and health care, with Elena as the director. They adopted the 3 children from the shelter and built a life rich in purpose rather than possessions. Years later, some of Marcus's family members reached out, having realized Derek's deception, but Marcus and Elena had already created something more valuable than any trust fund. A love story that proved true partnership means choosing each other not despite your differences, but because of the strength you find together. The lesson in their story is simple yet profound. Real love isn't about what someone can give you materially, but about who you become when you're with them. Marcus found his true self not in boardrooms or bank accounts, but in Elena's belief that he could be the man who changed the world one kind act at a time. Don't forget to subscribe to Endless Love Stories for more tales of love that conquers all odds. And share this video if you believe that true love is worth fighting for, no matter what anyone else says.